Hello. Today I'm going to show you how to make lemon cake. The lemon cake is like a really popular cake of mine, and it's perfect for this time of year because Easter's coming up, and then plus you can use it all summer. It's like cute, it's bright, it's playful, and it's a popular cake. So we're going to do that texture again, which I showed you before. It gets this diagonal texture on the side of the cake. So you can just go up the side of the cake, and then every time you get to the top, you scrape off the excess icing or spackling. And this, in a lot of these examples, you can use the same technique on a regular cake. Like on a real edible cake. I use this diagonal stripe for a patriotic cake I do as well. It's in my Etsy shop at Aunt Beck's Bakery. And so yeah, you can use this for different kinds of cakes. I was getting a little crooked there, so I'm gonna go back. This will stay soft. I finish my designs pretty quickly, so I actually don't know how long it takes to dry, but let's just say I messed this up right now. I can go back and scrape it all off and start over. If I waited 30 minutes, it might not be that easy to fix. So in the long run, to fully harden, I would say I don't paint it for about 2 days. But if you wanted to go back and fix something, I would fix it within 15 minutes. Okay. So I got my bench scraper. And this is what I like to flatten the top of the cake. So if you can see, I missed a little edge right there. Sometimes it peels away a little bit. If you want to just do thicker icing, then you shouldn't have that problem. But I did miss that little section. But it's going to be covered up by the border, so I'm not really worried about it. So the shell border on bottom, you just go up, down, and they're all connected. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And when you're piping and you have a bag like this, sometimes if you leave it for a day, before you go to pipe again, it's the little, right at the tip, it's gonna dry. The spaculine is gonna dry in there. So you, before you would start piping, you wanna, it's called burping the bag, and you're gonna burp the bag, but sometimes, you know, you press on it and it's just too hard and nothing's coming out of the top. So you just have to get a toothpick or something like this and go inside like that and get that little hard piece out. And then don't put that in your bucket. Just throw it in the trash because it'll mess up your other cakes. Yeah, and then see the little ridges? So you probably would need a toothpick to just go in there and get all those little dried up pieces out of the way of your shell. So I had this bag in a drawer in a plastic bag overnight, and it's still hardened, and I had to get that little piece out first before I started piping. So this is, you know, see, this is the part that I missed. If you're a perfectionist, you're going to want to cover that up, but I'm like, the shell covers it right up, so I'm not worried about that. If you were making this on a regular cake, you'd be using buttercream or whipped cream. Another thing you could do is you can actually color the spaculine first before you put it on the cake with paint. You can mix it in a container, and then it could come out the color that you want it to. I've done that with like grays and blacks. I haven't done that with a light color, but I have done it with grays and blacks, and it works out okay. Sometimes I have to touch it up. So this is the basic lemon cake, and this is gonna dry because of this shell border that's really pipe thick. I'm gonna have that dry like 3 days before I even touch it. So then in the end, you have this one. After 3 days, you have this one. And always put your lid back on your spaculine because it dries out quick. And you don't want to ruin your whole bucket. So let me get a paintbrush. Get all the moisture off with the paintbrush. If you have it in water, I leave my paintbrushes in the water, which is not good for the paintbrush. But I do that sometimes. So then after, you're gonna come in with the yellow. And you're gonna paint. All the way around the top and the bottom. And this part can be pretty time consuming because you don't want to get it, you want to cover all the white. So you really got to get in there because of the little ridges. So I usually use 2 different kinds of size paintbrushes. I use a thicker one to get the top coat on. And I usually come in with a little small one to cover all the white. And you do it on the bottom too. So when you want to get really close to the edge inside, you have to use a tiny little paintbrush to get all the way inside. And then and at the end, when I've painted it all, I spin it and I spin it in both directions. Do I see any white? Do I see any white? And if I see white, then I touch up again. So, and this part is painted just pure white. Okay, then after that, this is going to be this is the finished product with the yellow on it. So, if I get it on the board, I paint the board white. And then, you know, you spin it in both directions to see if there's any, sometimes there's a little white piece in here that you can see, and then you just touch it up with a little bit of paint. So you spin it both directions. You can hold it up like this, because if you're going to have it on a cake stand, then you're going to see it from a different angle than you're working with it, you know, that kind of thing. So you have to look at it from all angles. So then for the lemon part, after everything's dry, okay, so you waited 3 days for all your spackling to dry, then you painted it, and you can wait, you know, couple of hours for your paint to dry. Then I put these lemons on top. I put 5 lemons. So I marked the 5 where I'm gonna put the lemons, and then I took a X-Acto knife and I cut it. And then I just pull it out like this. And this part can get a little messy because it's styrofoam. And the reason why I do this, you don't have to do it like this, but the reason why I do this is because I ship my cakes. And so, I want there to be a little more stability. So I make that little nook where the lemon can settle right down in. Okay, I'm just trying to get rid of some of my styrofoam, all the little pieces. And then once you get rid of the excess styrofoam, then you're going to use tacky glue, and you're going to put your lemon slice right in there, like that. Okay, so when you put the tacky glue on and you put the 5 lemon pieces, then you let that dry. I let it dry for like 5, maybe about 5 hours, or overnight. You can work on something else. Okay, and then I let the tacky glue dry completely, because I don't know about all these chemicals that some of the stuff is in, so, and I don't want there to be any like interaction. I don't know. So after I let the tacky glue dry, I'm just going to demonstrate one. I didn't put any glue, but this is for the demonstration. I'm letting you guys know. I put the tacky glue right here, a little bit on there, and I let it dry. Okay? And then after I pipe, after like the tacky glue has dried 5 hours or overnight, then that is the finished detail. And then that has to dry for 2 or 3 days before you paint it white. And I would do that all the way around. And then I'm going to put a ribbon on the board too. So there's your pretty little Easter summer lemon cake that you can put on display or send it to a friend to cheer them up. It's bright, it's pretty, it's sunny. I'd love to hear if you make your own. Let me know.